Welcome, fellow classmates and Professor Florian. My name is Jennifer Martin, and I'm here to present on the subject of Generation Z, those born between 1997 and 2012. More specifically, how strengthening resilience in this generation can serve to mitigate anxiety and enhance social connectivity. So why did I choose this subject? Well, they've been in the news cycle quite a bit lately. They're coming to fruition, graduating college, entering the workforce, and as they do so, they've attracted a lot of negative attention. So I personally feel more detached from this generation than any other. Being born in the digital age, Gen Z's human experience is a lot different than any other generation. It's sadly included record levels of anxiety, depression, and disconnectivity. So I just wanted to find out what makes them tick and how we can collectively ease their transition into adulthood as we hand over the keys to the world. So Gen Z, lonely and depressed, highest ever generational reports of depression. Why? There's a threefold reason behind this. First, they've been born immersed in the digital age. Secondly, global and individual stressors. Thirdly, lack of resilience, and this is a big one. This one obviously we'll get further into as we go along. Immersed in the digital age, the experience of being raised with social media considerably affected their anxiety and self-esteem levels. 54% of Gen Z report spending at least 4 hours daily on social media. That's quite a bit. Exposure to a barrage of stressful images, headlines, and videos. So that's kind of the never being able to escape those visual stressors. Blunting of this generation's interpersonal communication skills. 74% of Gen Z say it's harder to connect with people these days. Global and individual stressors. 75% of this generation is stressed about mass shootings, which is a sad state of affairs. 62% stressed about rising suicide rates, goes hand in hand with the anxiety and depression. 58% stressed about environmental concerns, such as climate change, global warming. So these are those global stressors that we've talked about. 57% stressed about immigrant or migrant families being separated or deported. And now in our current news cycle, we can also include foreign conflict in those global stressors. So lack of resiliency, this is the very important one. So we've got an underdevelopment of coping mechanisms driven by overprotective parents. Yes, your parents are at fault. The most physically vulnerable cohorts in times of crisis. So COVID-19, perfect example of that. While they were digitally savvy and they navigated that digital shift during COVID-19, they were the most psychologically affected cohort amongst all generations. So there's also their unrealistic expectations and overexposure to social media, leaving Gen Z less emotionally prepared to handle failure and stress. So social media in and of itself creates these unrealistic expectations they feel they've got to rise to, and anything less than is a failure. And then this last one is quite important, lack of purpose. Despite being more educated, diverse than the previous generations, they struggle to create a seriously recognized collective message. So think of all of these individual thoughts on a large platform. They really can find no cohesive message that is accepted by their peers or by those generations that are older. So resiliency, why is it so important? Simply put, it's the ability to bounce back. So the ability to adapt to stress and trauma and then return to a positive status. It's a healthy response to distress. It is a protective factor against a variety of mental disorders. So it will be what will determine your mental health outcome. So recommendations for action. So we've got the resilience training first and foremost. Secondly, expanding access to mental health resources, incredibly important. And third, promoting youth-led community initiatives. This is important that they are the leaders of these initiatives. So resilience training, what does it look like? So on a familial or an individual level, what that looks like is promoting independence and cultivating coping skills. within the family. So this means allowing young children to experience and negotiate small challenges. So what does that mean? That looks like something going out to dinner, instead of the child acting up, instead of pacifying, or even a teenager pacifying them with their digital device, we decide instead, let's let them figure out how they can take their environment and creatively fill that void that they're feeling of boredom, right? And so they can do that through their environment, and they can do that through social connection. So we're building resiliency skills to help them manage lifetime uncertainty. There's going to be strife in their lifetime. So we're teaching them how to do that at a young age. Then on a national level, implementation of nationwide school curriculum resilience programs. So this meets a large segment of Gen Z in an impactful manner. So the hard thing that we find on a national level is being able to large scale these programs, right? So a school curriculum is something that almost every young person goes through. So it's the perfect opportunity to reach a large swath of the public, the Generation Z, and then of course the Generation Alpha that's coming after them. And then some ways we can do that is through social and emotional learning, these SEL programs. One specifically is called Spark. But from my research, it's really kind of locally used, and it's just been tested. It's not something that's really been rolled out on a grand scale like we would expect to see some real meaningful change. Secondly, expanding the access to mental health resources. So again, within the family setting, we can limit screen time for digital devices within the family. And then on a larger scale, public policy to increase funding and subsidies to get that access to those that are underserved, especially due to financial restraints. And then we've got CBD delivered, which is cognitive behavioral therapy that is specific to this generation, delivered on a digital or gamified platform. That's important because that's what they relate most closely to, is those digital platforms. Using those platforms, you can offer better anonymity, you can appeal to their tech-savvy sense, and then you can also, there's a possibility to harness AI to help with differential diagnoses. Again, that larger scale, which is often a huge hurdle, along with funding. So we can streamline things at a large scale treatment option. So promoting youth-led community initiatives. So this is the last of our action points. So again, at a family individual level, we're talking about encouraging those face-to-face interactions with not only family, but out further into the community. And then the promotion of leadership roles in Gen Z and community projects. So this is important because then they feel a personal connection to those projects that they are part of. As far as extrapolating this out further, it's almost a little better to start small scale. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So as opposed to trying to combat climate change or these foreign wars, how about if we just start within our community with our activism, create that sense of purpose, that reason to get up every morning, which is so important, and then the belonging that comes with a community project. So you've got the increased social interaction, the community connection, and with this we're combating both the anxiety, isolation, and then helplessness as well, which is incredibly important. So these are my lovely references that helped me through this entire project. I just want to leave you on a positive note that Gen Z really represents a positive paradigm shift. They put quality of life first. They're open to discussion on self-enhancement, which is lovely. And they are tasked with navigating an entirely new frontier. So there's no reason we can't collectively as a society and as policymakers invest in their future and create, as a result, a better future for us all. So again, I'd like to thank you all for spending some of your very precious time viewing this presentation and giving me the opportunity to exchange some ideas with all of you. I'm looking very forward to your feedback as well as enjoying your presentation. So wishing you all the very best. Thank you.